from the Shoe Chick Art Studio in fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm so excited. For those of you who do not know me, again, my name is Angelique. I am the Shoe Chick, also known as the Shoe Chick, because when you paint with me, kids in Africa get shoes. You can read my story at www.theshoechickstore.com. You can learn more about me, more paintings that I have, and all that good stuff. So this is a virtual paint party. And what we're going to do is we're going to paint. You're going to paint with me. People either got their kids mailed to them or they came by my studio, opened their trunk, and I throw the stuff in the, carefully place the items in their trunk. And then they meet me on YouTube, or once a month I'm going to start doing live events and you paint with me live. But this is recorded live, no editing, so anything can happen. Hopefully I have all my tools here, but if I don't, it's okay. Because art is an experience, and that's what we're doing today. We're having a virtual paint party experience. So I'm going to take you about 90% through the painting, and then you finish it on your own. Use your own creativity. The kits were, oh, you know what? I started doing something kind of fun, and I want to keep doing it. So I almost forgot. So everybody keeps telling me that this has been very therapeutic for them, and art is very therapeutic. And they said that it really has been a great distraction on what's going on in the world right now, and I'll just leave it at that. And many, many people have emailed me and texted me and all that good stuff and put comments to tell me that I've been such a bright light during these dark times. So I have a theme song now. No, I really do. Okay, are you ready? And if you know it, if you like to hear it, here you go. No, if you know it, sing along with me. Okay, I'm going to sing This Little Light of Mine in the head of tambourine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. That's my theme song. So I'm letting my light shine. I hope it brightens your day by painting. And I hope you sing along. I'm going to try to remember to sing it again at the end, but we'll see how that goes. Okay, so, and I'm not a singer, so that's a big thing. For me to just do that, just like that, that's a serious big deal. But anyway, okay, African Glow. I love this painting. It is an Angelique original. A lot of times I just paint stuff that everybody else is painting in the paint party world. But this is an Angelique original, and I'm really digging it. I wanted to do something a little fun, a little Afrocentric, and something that didn't look like it was just so hard to do. Okay, the objective is to have a good time. You have a reference photo in your kit. I don't have mine with me, but you have a little picture for all the OCD people if you want to make it exactly the way this is. But, you know, I don't recommend it. I always say I want you to put your own creative influence in the painting. Y'all see that? That could have hit me in the face, but it didn't, thank goodness. So, it is pre-traced because I don't want you to stress out, right? If you don't like it being pre-traced, paint it all white. I haven't had anyone do that yet, but if you want to, just paint it all white, okay? And start from scratch. I even did her face with a permanent marker, actually, because a lot of people get really nervous about doing the face right. There is no right or wrong. But people still, stress out. Again, if you want to do your own face, if you want to change something, just paint it white. Okay, so you, in your kit, you got a cup of water. I mean, you got a cup, you didn't get the water. So make sure you fill your cup halfway full with water. You either have one of these two brushes, because I've been experimenting with this one, because I'm not a big fan of sponge brushes, but I'm trying to find something that gives you better coverage that's disposable. Okay, so meaning that I don't want to spend a lot of money because I have to charge you more money. If you have a brush like this, I want you just to kind of go like this to it and try to get all the loose hairs, because that's what I'm finding is that it's leaving hairs on the canvas. So I'm still not really sure if I'm going to use these. But you have this brush or you have this brush, and then you have a detail brush, and then you have a flat square brush. Okay, so you have 3 different kind of brushes to do this painting. The first thing that we're going to do is what we always do, light coat of water. I'm going to work with this brush today. You might be working with the sponge brush, which is fine. So light coat of water in the entire canvas. Please don't worry about washing away the trace lines. They're a little bit more than pencil. So you're not going to wash them away. So I'm going light coat of water. I am even doing the sides of the canvas because we're going to wrap our painting, meaning that we're going to paint the sides. So when you hang up your masterpiece, you do not need a frame. You could just hang it up and it looks beautiful because you're all going to hang up these beautiful masterpieces. You are. Okay, so if we didn't have this trace image on here, we would prep the canvas. Now, we prepped it by adding water to it. And that's like the most basic kind of prepping that you can do. Now, what that's going to do, kind of primes the canvas a little bit so that it doesn't suck up all the water right away, you know. So we got that light coat. We don't want it to be wet, so we're going to let it dry a little bit. If you put a lot of water on there and you're concerned, you can take that highly absorbent blue paper towel that you have and you can kind of dry it off a little bit. I'm doing that because just to kind of speed up the process a little bit. So if you didn't have this trace image on here, you would prep your canvas with either by painting it. You can paint it white so that the canvas has a first layer of paint on there. You could use something called gesso. And I'm looking to see if I have mine accessible, but you can also prep your canvas with that. And then, you know, the very basic way is just watering. When you prep your canvas, that's called the underpainting too. What we're going to do is paint around her, but most artists do an underpainting. But we're going to paint around her because she is traced, okay? So if you look at your reference photo, I'm looking at the actual painting here. So if you look at the reference photo, all around her is mostly yellow and a little bit of orange, right? So we're going to go with yellow first. You should have all the lids off your paints. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go right into my yellow paint. And there's two ways you can do this. You can just go ahead and try to paint close as you can to her, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to outline her body with the yellow paint. I'm going right on top of those trace lines because we don't want anybody to see those trace lines. We don't want anybody to know that she was traced. I'm going inside the earrings with the yellow because that's just easier. I should have made y'all draw these earrings instead of me having to paint around them, but it's okay. All right? I don't want to stress anybody out. I want you to have your music, I want you to have your wine, and I want you to enjoy the painting experience, okay? So, and I'm not trying to create the painting exactly the same because that would stress me out. I'm painting sideways, so I'm painting live. Art is an expression of who you are in the moment. When I was painting this, you know, I was thinking that I needed an African drawing. I wanted something pretty, and I wanted something tranquil. I wanted you to look at it and say, oh, wow, that's fun, it's beautiful. I could do that. So, you know, we're all in a different state of mind from day to day, from moment to moment. So, of course I can't paint I can come pretty close, but that's not my objective. My objective is to take you 90% through this painting, okay? So now I'm painting the background, all yellow. And this is kind of easy to do, right? So I'm gonna play a little music. I'm going kind of fast, I think. I'm gonna try to slow down and let you catch up before I go to the next step. But remember, this is a replay, right? You can always pause me and wait for everybody to catch up and that kind of thing, okay? So I'm just gonna play a little nondescript music because I don't want them to take my video down off of, I don't know if you're watching me on Facebook or YouTube. So play my authorized music and you keep painting your yellow background. If I can get my authorized music to play. That's the beauty of live anything, right? There we go. Okay. I hope you were painting while I was doing that because then you're ahead of me. We're painting on a 16 by 20 canvas, by the way. I am. If your kit was shipped to you, you're painting on an 11 by 14 canvas. Yeah, this same process all the time, right? Light coat of water, paint the background. Hope you got all the loose hair that you're painting with this one out, because that is so annoying. But just by pulling on, pulling those loose hairs out right away, and see that I'm not having that problem. So I might be digging these brushes. Every video you see that I make, I'm always talking about how I paint the sprinkler. So, if you don't like something, what do? You change it. Love being an entrepreneur. Love painting. And I love that you guys are painting with me. And I can't wait to see your masterpiece. And it is a masterpiece. No matter what you create today, somebody's going to want it one day. Somebody's going to be fighting over it. I love to tell people that. It makes them laugh. So it's true. So some people ask me why do I paint like this? Why don't I do a different camera shot? But I want you to feel connected with me. I want you to see me, but mostly see the painting because it's not about me. But I want you to know that I'm self-taught. I used to work for the late great Annie Lee. You can Google her. Huge fan of her work. She did not teach me how to do art. She didn't teach me how to art. She didn't teach me how to do art. She inspired me. And I think there's more value than teaching me how to do art. Alright, I got my yellow all done. Is it everywhere? Do you have it inside of her earrings? Because that's important. I'm going to paint all her earrings a little bit. I don't like white space there. Alright. Now I'm going to take my brush. I hope you're somewhat with me. I hope I'm not going too fast. But even if I am, if you're not done with the yellow, not a super big deal. Because this next step is also just working on the background. If you look on the background, there's like fun stripes of orange, right? Now, you might not have orange in your kit because I was having so much fun painting this painting that I was not taking into consideration at all, how many colors I was using. So you might have orange in your kit, or you might have to make orange. And you're going to make orange by putting a little bit of yellow paint in your tray, your mixing tray that came. You're going to put a little bit of yellow paint, and then you're going to put a little bit of red. So it's more yellow than red, okay? So you're going to take a little bit of yellow, pour it in the tray, take a little tiny bit of red, and mix it together, and you're going to get orange. If you're lucky enough to have orange, I'm not even going to wash my brush out. I'm going to stick the tip of my brush right into that orange, and I'm going to just have fun and do some brush strokes, squiggly brush strokes. I mean, like if you want to try to make it exactly like the painting, hold your reference photo up next to it and try to do that. But I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to give myself a few little squiggly fun lines. If your paint's sticky and not flowing the way you want, because mine's not really flowing the way I want, I'm going to put a little tiny bit of water on the top of my brush. And then I'm going to go right back over that yellow, and you'll see how it's blending in there. All right? We don't want it to look too stripy. Looks kind of stripy on camera, but it doesn't really in real life. But it's looking kind of stripy. But it's up to you, whatever effect that you want to create. So the next thing I'm going to do is still not going to wash my brush off. I'm going to get some more yellow paint, and I'm going to go right on top of my orange and kind of soften up the orange a little bit. Okay? This is such a fun painting. I really, really, really like this painting. So I want it to dry. Now, I want it to dry because there's a lot of white that we're going to put around her, and we want that to be really dry, and we want the white to really stand out. If you are working ahead, which I know a lot of you do, please save the white paint for last. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to use this brush and I'm going to paint her skin brown, okay? So play around with the background, get it how you want to get it, and then we're going to take this paintbrush, which is the middle size. So you have three. This is the one that's not pointy, it's kind of flat and square. We're going to go into the brown paint. I'm going to outline everything that's brown and I'm going to fill it in, okay? So I'm going to play a little music while I'm doing that. If you're still working on the background, that's great. When you're resting that big brush, whether it's your sponge brush or this brush, you're going to rest it in your water, okay? And I'm going to start working on her beautiful brown skin. Paint's not flowing the way you want, put a little bit of water on your brush, okay? Okay, so painting in a brown skin, outlining it. Gonna find some more music while you guys are catching up. Outlining her beautiful brown skin. If the paint's too sticky, gonna add a little bit of water. If I want it to be lighter, I'm gonna add a little bit of white paint and mix it in my tray. If I want it to be darker, I'm gonna apply another coat of brown on her skin, okay? Totally up to you. So, hope you're working on that background. Hope I'm not going too fast for you. You can paint right over that, the marker that I use for her face, and then paint over it to make it stand out later. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm using a little bit of water so that I can still see that chalk. That marker, you're going to be able to see it. Now, if you don't like painting with this brush and you want more coverage, you can switch back to your sponge brush, which I'm going to do right now. I'm going to switch to my bigger brush because that's a lot of painting. So it gets kind of messy because the water's yellow, but that's okay. I'm switching my brush around. I'm going to tap it, tap it, tap it, tap it. Get all the water off of it. And then I'm going to wipe it off with my highly absorbent paper towel. Get all those loose. When you paint, sometimes it gets messy. I like it when it's messy. So, anyway, a little bit of brown paint. Now I'm only using this big paint brush because there's a lot to her face, right? Be careful though, because it holds a lot more paint. So I just put a little tiny bit, and it's going a long way. Now you're thinking, wait a minute, you're colored all over the marker, the face lines. But I can still see them, and we're going to paint over them. Anyway, it's just a guideline for you. I got a lot of paint on this paint brush, so I'm even going to use my paper towel and kind of dust it off a little bit. Now that I know what I'm working with. Again, you can still work with that medium-sized brush. Even if you're a beginner, I'd highly recommend it because it gives you more control. But I'm not trying to paint all this area right here with that little brush. I'd be on here forever trying to show you how to do that. So now that I got most of the coverage done, I'm going to go back to that other brush now. And I'm going to smooth out her skin tone and fill it in. See, the bigger brush I just wanted to use for coverage because it was going to take me forever using this little tiny brush. And, yeah, I didn't want to do that. So her lips are a lighter color brown, which is kind of fun. I like all the different colors that I splashed onto her face. I was having a lot of fun with this painting. I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 colors, and I try not to do that to myself because it's a lot to put these kids together. But it's, you know, I wanted it to look good. I don't know. It was just fun. I wanted it to be pretty. It's so, yeah, it makes me happy when I look at it. African glow. And it's nice when you get a feeling when you look at art, and that's where the, you know, where the neuroscience comes in with the, you know, all the hormonal things that go on when you look at a nice piece of art and how it makes you feel and what endorphins are released. It's more than just an experience. You know, there's some metaphysical and physical things going on when we paint. I want to learn more about that and talk more about that when we paint because I think that was part of my success during the pandemic. Like people have been searching for a distraction, some feel good, right? Some feel good emotions. So, okay, so pretty good at coverage here. I don't want any white coming through. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of water on my paintbrush, and then I'm going to smooth out the areas that I think I need to smooth out. There's a little bit of water, like I said, on my paintbrush from the areas where my paint just isn't flowing the way I want to. Using the tip of my paintbrush along the edges to get a fine, clean line. But that white outline is really going to help you out a lot with that at the very end of the painting, okay? Now, how do we get her lips that color? We're using, looks like tan, right? But you don't have tan. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift a little bit of brown out of there with my paintbrush, out of my cup into my mixing tray. See that? And then I'm going to, you might have a mixing stick in your tray and you can use that stick to lift. Or and now I have to go into my white, but you know what? I don't want to get my white dirty. So I'm going to actually take the cup. If you have a mixing tray, a mixing stick, it kind of looks like a popsicle stick. You can use that. I'm not sure if I put that in your kit or not. If not, you can just tap it out. If that doesn't work, you can clean your brush off really good, like I'm doing, and just lift out of the corner a little bit of white paint. And so I'm just mixing the white with a little bit of brown, and I'm making tan. And that is what I'm using for her lips. If you want to be a little bit more brown, I'm just going to add a little bit more brown to it. And then with this tan, I believe it goes also just right on the tip of her eyelash line, or eye line. We haven't put eyelashes on yet. Okay? And if you want to have a little bit of fun with it while you have it on your paintbrush, you can put it anywhere and define her neck a little bit better, her jawline, and just have fun with that lighter shade or that tan color. Even a little bit around her ear. Totally up to you where you want to use it. I think on top of her eyelids, her lips, and her nose, defining that line around her nose. I'm looking at the reference photo, and there's a little light brown inside there, and then around the bottom of her nose, like that. So another idea, like when you're painting with me, if you're a beginner, you might want to watch the complete tutorial and then paint your painting. I don't know, just an idea, because I watch a lot of people paint too. Well, I used to, and I would get frustrated because I felt like they were moving too fast, and yeah. So just, I don't want you to get frustrated. So anyway, so what we've done so far, we painted the background yellow, we added some orange highlights to the background, we painted her skin brown, we made tan, we did some highlighting on top of her eyelids and her nose line and painted in her lips. Now, I am going to focus now on her lashes and the details of her face and the earrings. And, you know, pretty much now, the rest of it, I'm going to show you how to do the patterns and stuff on her lovely, beautiful head wrap that she has on. But you can create your own patterns if you want. So, anyway, so let's go along. I'm talking a lot so that you're catching up too. So I hope you're catching up if you're behind. If you're behind. So I'm going to use the smallest paintbrush we have, this one. And I'm going to work on the details of her face. Now remember, I used the magic marker and traced her face out, right? So you're just going to take that, this is a small pointing brush that we have, and you're just going to go over, I'm using the black paint, and you're going to paint over those lines that I had for you. And that's pretty easy to do, right? Because we need them to stand out a little bit more. Now, you're only going to do this when you're happy with her skin color. Like if you want to put another coat on there, you're going to wait to do the details of her face, okay? Because you want those to stand out. So I'm just going right over those lines, and then I'm going to go over her lips. They're beautiful, full lips. I have a tiny amount of black on my paintbrush. If you don't feel good, I mean, if you have a black marker, you can use it on there. But we're painting, we're not using markers. Then we're going to have fun with her eyelashes. Now, if you have a piece of chalk, you can chalk out the eyelashes. But really, it's kind of fun. You're just going to take a few wispy lines and just go right out of her lashes and make lashes. And they're just individual lines. And with the white highlights on them, it really doesn't even matter. I don't even know how you can mess it up, right? If you want them longer or shorter, make them longer or shorter, but they're one brush stroke at a time. If you clump them together, it's fine, but we want to try to clump them together as least as possible because the white's going to help separate them, but they look good if you take the time to put one brush stroke at a time. Isn't she beautiful? So I don't know how full you want them, and make it yours. The eyebrow above her eye on her left side, you have to put that in yourself. You have to draw that in yourself. And of course, if you have a piece of chalk, you can do that. Or you can just trust yourself to do it. Do it super light and then go over it. If you want to arch them or make some cool design with the eyebrows, of course, feel free to do that. Okay, I have black on my paintbrush, and since I have black on my paintbrush, you want to kind of use it everywhere that you can, anywhere that there's some fine lines. So since I have black on this little paintbrush, I'm going to go ahead and do that line for her earring. And I'm also going to paint that area in because it's not that much of an area on this side. And I still am using that pointy paintbrush, which probably isn't the best choice. So if you want to switch paintbrush and use the medium flat, you can do that if you want, but you know, this is working for me. So I don't feel like washing off another paintbrush, so I'm just gonna roll with it. Okay, make this one a little thicker. Those some nice earrings, huh? I like these earrings. Now on the other side, same thing. I have black on my paintbrush, so I'm just gonna kind of look around the painting and do as much with that black as I can. And then I think the head wrap is just so fun because you can get really creative with it. You don't have to do, this paintbrush is too little for me to paint that off that space. So what I'm doing is I'm switching to the medium flat. And that's what we're going to be working the most with anyway. I switch to the medium black and I'm using the tip of it because I don't want to, using that detail brush is not what that's for. The detail brush is soaking in the water, by the way. When you're not using your brushes, you should leave them in the water because we're painting with acrylic paints today. Whoops, I forgot to tell you, there's an apron in your kit too. So I hope you put your apron on. The acrylic paints wash very easily off your skin, not so easily out of your clothes. So that's why we wear apron. They are water based, but we don't want you to eat them either, okay? People ask me the strangest things. All right, earrings are done. Now I have black on my paintbrush. Anything else black? Her necklace. Again, if you have a piece of chalk, you can chalk in the necklace first. Those are circles. I don't want to use my medium paintbrush for that. So I'm going to hold off on the necklace because it's easier if we do that with a detail brush. Yeah, so I'm not going to do that yet. So what we're going to do is we're going to work on her head wrap. I am not going to go through painting the entire head wrap because that would be ridiculous. All you do is just paint it in like a coloring book, right? But we're using a paintbrush, so it's pretty self-explanatory. Change up the colors if you want. What I am going to show you is how I did some of the patterns. I layered some of the colors. So, for example, the red, I'm going to do that red with the lines on it. So what you really want to do is when you're doing the designs, you want to do the base color first, and you want to let it dry. Excuse me. You want to let it dry before you put anything on top of it, okay? So what I'm doing here is I'm doing red. So do all the colors first and then do the details. So you're going to put all the fun colors down, decide what pattern or follow mine. Like I want this to be red, and then I'm going to save black for last in the turban. In the head wrap. So I did red. I'm washing out my brush. I'm swishing around in the water, and I'm wiping it off on the paper towel. Now I'm going into orange, and orange is right here. Now I might be tempted to start working on the design, but I don't want to do that. I want it to dry before I start doing the designs. So I'm doing that one orange. And then I'm going to swish my brush around in the water. I'm going to do black. No, black's going to be last. What am I going to do? Green. So green is going to go right here. I think I'm going to mess it up, but there are no mistakes, right? Happy little accidents, as Bob Ross used to say. So put my green there. So the basic idea is put all your colors, solid colors down first, and then we're going to work on the design. So I got green there. I want to make sure I get this green right here because I want to show you how all those patterns are made. And some of you might be like, yeah, that's pretty easy. It's pretty easy, but I want to make sure you have all the tools that you need to finish her up. All right. So the last color that I'm going to use is black. So you're going to put all the colors down that you want, all the solid colors. You're going to wait to use black last because it's such a strong color. So I'm going to color this one in black. I'm not even sure if that's right, but there's no right or wrong, so today it is black. And since I have black on my paintbrush, I'm going to do a little outline around the painting, okay? So filling this in black. Black is so strong, that's why I wanted to wait and use that last. So you're going to put all the solid colors down. You're going to use black absolutely last on the brush. Since you have black on the brush, I'm just going to finish up a few things that I want to outline, like her arms. There's a little bit of black around her dress here. Oh man, when I had green on my paintbrush, I should have painted the green down here. Don't you love being live? I'm going to go back and paint that green down there, because I can show you how to do that pattern all at the same time, because that pattern here is the same pattern that's on her wrap up there. You feel me? So you gotta work with the color as much as you can that you have on your brush. I'm still working with the medium flat. And now what you're gonna do, you're gonna color all the solid colors in there, right? All the solid colors, and then we're gonna work on the pattern. But we're gonna wait, all the solid colors put down, and then while it's drying, let's work on the necklace. So I'm taking the pointed paintbrush for detailing, and I'm going into my black paint, and I'm going to trust myself to make this necklace. Now, if you don't trust yourself, you can just do it very lightly, or if you have some chalk, if there's chalk in your kit, I'm not sure if there is or not, but all they are is circles. So with my tiny, tiny paintbrush, all I'm doing, the pointed paintbrush, it's not that tiny, I'm making circles, and I'm painting them in. You could change your necklace, of course, if you want. I think you are. I don't know if you're going to have, I don't know if I'm going to put chalk in your kit. It's kind of easy to do these circles, but what I think is easy frustrates people sometimes, so I don't know. So they're just little dots. You can use chalk, you can use pencil, whatever you want, because her skin is dry, right? The brown is dry. This paint is dry, so it's not going to get all muddy. So. Okay, so now that I've done that, this area up here should be dry. It's pretty dry. So how do you do these designs? You just take a look, use your detail brush, the pointy one that we were just working with, and just look at each color and add, like, for example, the red has orange stripes in it. So I'm taking my detail brush, I'm curving a little bit to add that design, I'm curving the line just a little bit. And then I'm looking all around and seeing, do I want to put orange anywhere else? Do I want to use orange anywhere else? So if you look around and you want to use orange somewhere else, you're going to put it wherever that you want to put it, okay? But try to make sure that each layer dries, like that little detail is drying. And while it's drying, I'm going to go into my red and I'm going to put some lines. I'm using a detail brush, remember, on the orange. And then I'm going to put a few dots on there to add a little design. Okay? Then I'm swishing my brush around and I'm wiping it off on my paper towel every time I go in between colors. So then I'm going to go back and I'm going to add black Z's, little zigzags to that. If it's not dry, you can blow on it, you can fan it. But as you're working your way around the painting, it should be pretty dry. All right? How y'all feeling about that? I love it. She's coming alive. I should have waited to put her eyelashes on last because that really brings her to life, right? So, once you have her head wrap all painted in, what you're going to do when everything is done, and those little dots, that's pretty much all the designs on the wrap, except for what I have on the green, that green right here, and that green on her dress. It's just little dots, right? I'm going to save the white for last. Right on top of that green, I'm going to put yellow. Little yellow dots, yellow dots, yellow dots, yellow dots, yellow dots, when it's dry. And then there's some black dots, and there's some white dots, and I'm saving the white for last. Black dots. Want more yellow? Put more yellow. But while you're doing that, you should also be doing the dress too, because that just makes sense, right? So if I'm putting black little dots on here, then we go back right now and put the yellow. So just have fun with it. You might not want the green down here. Just take a look at it. You can even Google some African head wraps and see what designs are in those wraps. And maybe you totally switch it up, you know? I would love, love, love to see your paintings. All right. So what about this necklace? It's a peace sign, right? Two ways you can do it. If you have a piece of chalk, you can chalk it out. Otherwise, you can freehand it. I'm using a pointy brush, detail brush, and I'm just going to draw a circle first with white paint, and then I'm going to paint over it with the yellow. I like to do that because if you don't like the way it looks, you're going to just paint over it brown when it dries. That's how you fix something. You wait till it dries and then you paint over it. So the peace sign I'm doing with the detail brush. I'm going to go over it in yellow so it stands out a little bit more. Something else I want you to remember too is don't forget to sign and date your masterpiece. I don't really talk about that enough, I think. And that's super important. Sign and date it on the front or on the back, however you want. I usually sign on the side and small, but you can do it super big, totally up to you. All right. While I have this little white, on this detail brush, I'm going to go ahead and add the design to the earrings. And they're just little dots with the tip of my brush and a little pressure. And you'll see what I mean as you start painting with them. Can you change the earrings? Absolutely. I was going to make them feathered earrings, but I changed my mind. So that's pretty fun. Fun little earring. And then those dots on this side actually go all the way up. All right, so imagine this. Your head wrap is already painted totally in. We're pretty much almost done with this painting. And remember I said I was only going to take you 90% through the painting? I think we're there. When you are totally complete with the painting, totally done, and it is dry, you can use a blow dryer to dry it, you could wait and let it dry, or you could take this tray right here and you can fan it. You want it to be really dry. Now, pretty dry. Now the background should be dry because we did that first, right? So what you're gonna do when you're ready, you're gonna take this paintbrush right here, the medium flat. You're gonna put it into your white paint, and if you look, okay, because it's called African Glow, right? She is glowing because we've taken white paint and we've gone around and outlined her and created this really cool, I think, glow around her body. And it's a pretty broad line, so, you know, I'm taking the flat of my brush and I'm kind of just whimsically going around her body and creating this glow. Are you with me? So I want you to fill up your wine glass, put your music on, complete your painting, and you know what would be really cool? If you email me and share your pictures with me. That is something that I absolutely love. So, have fun, be safe. I think you have all the components you need to finish your painting. Look at your reference photo. Enjoy the flow of the paint. Enjoy your drink, enjoy your friends. And if you're painting alone or with friends, just enjoy it. And email me, post your pictures, tag me. You can follow me on my YouTube channel, Angelique Paints. You might be here now, I don't know, because I have like 2 platforms where I share my pictures. I do fundraisers, just endless possibilities. I'm so open. I'm so grateful for you. So thank you so much for painting with me. I hope you enjoyed African Glow. I know your women are beautiful and